Going from E90 to 2016 Ford Focus ST. I have the ST3 trim, which is going to be the highest trim. As you can see, you have the Sync 3 carbon fiber shift knob, carbon fiber trim. Definitely a big difference from the E90. My primary reason for getting the Focus ST over the E90 is because the E90 was just draining me out with the maintenance and unreliability and the transmission issues, so unfortunately I had to move on. This is a car that I know. I've had an ST before. I had a 2013, this is a 2016, and I absolutely love this car. It is 100% stock. I did put in a green filter in there, which if you know, they're kind of popular add-ons to these vehicles. It's sort of like a cold air intake. It just has this end open versus it having closed off. But it is a pretty straightforward vehicle. I'm doing its first oil change right now. I bought it with 132,000 miles. Sorry, 128,000. I'm currently at 132. Just short of 4,000 miles, and I'm going to do the oil change because these cars can be very fragile and finicky with the maintenance, just like the E90s are. You can do long intervals or longer intervals with oil changes, but I'm going to do this about 4,000 miles just because I'm a little bit paranoid and I want to take care of it. But yeah, I'll go over it as I do the oil change. I already got the belly pan off and got the drain plug out, 15 mil. I'm going to get the oil filter out. I already broke it loose with the wrench, a special wrench. I'm going to use this solo cup to avoid getting oil on my fingers. Hopefully it actually doesn't overfill. But this is a trick I saw before and I've done it a couple times. And oil is still coming out on my fingers. Great. So I got the filter out. Still got oil on my fingers, but it was a little bit less messy than it usually could be. So I'm going to let that oil drain out. So I'm going to go with a larger filter. This is a FL400. It's a little bit bigger than your standard filter. And I'm going to do Pennzoil Ultra. I actually have never used Pennzoil, or at least I haven't recently. I'm not a big Pennzoil fan, but apparently it's a really good brand and a lot of people use it, and it's synthetic, full synthetic, so might as well. But yeah. As far as the interior goes in this car while we're waiting for the oil to drain, you have your standard flat bottom steering wheel, which I absolutely love. The 2013 I had did not have that, and I love this design much more. As I mentioned, you have the carbon fiber shift knob. You have the carbon fiber on the little gauges up here. And you have the carbon fiber right here, along with the parking brake handle. You have the Sync 3, the bigger screen. This is a 2016. It actually has Android Auto. I believe it doesn't have CarPlay because you have to like upgrade the USB or something, but regardless, it has Android Auto, and I have an Android, so that works out. I'm not going to start it because it's empty. I have 132,000 miles on there, as you can see. I get about 24 miles a gallon, so almost the same as the E90. I actually put regular in this car, and before people come after me, you can put regular in these cars. It says in the manual, and I can show you if you'd like. It says 87 to 93 is what you can do. If you do 87, you get 242 horsepower. If you do 93, you get 252 horsepower, I believe. Or it's like 243 and 252, so a 9 horsepower difference, which is nice, but you really can't feel the difference. I've tried. But once again, this thing is stock anyway, so it wouldn't be a big deal. If I were to tune it, I'd probably go exclusively 93. But I absolutely love this car. I absolutely love these gauges. You have your turbo pressure, you have your oil temp, and you have your oil pressure. Back seats as well, fully leather. Probably never been sat in. I absolutely love it. Oh yeah, this also comes with heated front seats, and a heated steering wheel, and heated mirrors as part of the ST3 package. Door alarm, and of course the sunroof, which I think is standard, but could be wrong. Pretty decent trunk space with the little liner to cover it up. The seats lay down. I actually fit this giant Yakima cargo topper in there, which is crazy, but There's lots of room if you lay the seats down. It's actually not too bad. I'm not a huge fan of the stock exhaust, but I do plan on potentially upgrading it and getting something a little bit louder, nothing crazy. The headlights are adaptive, similar to the E90. You have your fog lights. I made them yellow, put yellow bulbs in there. But these are adaptive, and they definitely don't have as many issues as the E90 does. But I absolutely love the headlights. I think they look really good, and the adaptiveness is very obvious and looks great. As long as the LED, as well as the LED strip up here, looks really good for the kind of like a daytime running LED. Engine bay is really straightforward, pretty easy to work on. Batteries right here, a little bit harder to get to. Brake fluid's kind of covered up by the cowl, which is going to be one of my next things I got to do on here. Filter, fuse box, and then you have your 4-cylinder engine, EcoBoost right here. Really easy to access, really easy to do plugs. Valve cover, oil pan will be really easy, no subframe to deal with. It's completely different. Obviously, it's front wheel drive, but it's just something that I love, and I'm so glad I got back into. This is the oil I'll be using. Since I'm using the slightly bigger filter, I'll be doing 6 quarts even of this stuff, and of course I'll check afterwards, but yeah, this is the oil I'm using. I think it should be good. Another cool little fun fact or fun thing is I had this 3D printed. Me and a coworker 3D printed this. It's going to be an intake cowl that basically is going to go in there behind the grill and hopefully direct more air into the air box. It's 3D printed. It might, fall apart eventually, but hopefully, it makes a difference, and it looks pretty cool. So when I got this car from the dealership, it had a new belly pan, and then had a bunch of metal machine screws. These are the originals. This is what it's supposed to look like. It had a bunch of machine screws in there. But luckily, for my old car, I had bought a kit with a bunch of new screws and the proper rivets and stuff, so luckily I'll be replacing those. Alright, taking the car out for a drive after the oil change. Definitely a pretty big difference as far as driving experience goes. The E90 was a lot smoother for sure. I really liked driving the E90 aside from the transmission issues, but driving this thing is it's definitely a lot, I guess you could say, sportier or bumpier if you will, but I think that it drives great once you get used to it. The seats, the Recaros, the leather Recaros definitely hug you a lot more, and it's a lot more noticeable, but it's one of those things where you actually end up liking it more because, when you're cornering hard or whatever it may be, it feels pretty good. But yeah, it's definitely a different driving experience, but with the turbo, I mean, it's definitely a great experience, something that you don't get with every BMW. But I think for a daily commuter, I'm a huge fan of it. This is the full outside look. I love the styling of these cars. I think they're truly some of the best looking cars you can get. It's pretty dirty. I'm gonna wash it today actually, but yeah, I think it's an absolutely beautiful car. I love the front end. I'm a huge fan of the front end, the overall shape and everything. I do wish the hood wasn't as long, but or sorry, not the hood, the windshield, but it is what it is. I do have one more video of the E90 that I'd love to put up. It's a transmission removal video. It's kind of long, but hopefully I can edit that together and put it up soon. But yeah, I no longer have the E90, but maybe one day I'll get another one, who knows. I really love BMWs in general and the E90 specifically, but they are troublesome and expensive to maintain, unfortunately. But yeah, if you're ever looking for a Focus ST, I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.